All right, here's the deal. In Ableton, I have a bass going and one MIDI part, and then I have massive for the top bass and operator for the sub. All right, now check this out. When they play together, there's a little bit of phasing going on. So let's go ahead and make sure both of them are playing. Now you can hear the phasing, but I want to show you what it looks like, what phasing is. And that's when you have two frequencies that are out of sync. And so sometimes their amplitudes will add together and boost. Sometimes their amplitudes will be out of phase and they'll actually cancel each other out. So you can hear that. Listen to the fundamental of the bass, which is the lowest frequency. Listen and then watch. This frequency right here is gonna go down and up slowly. And that's what being out of phase means. Sometimes that they're boosting together and sometimes they're out of phase and they're cutting. Down, up, 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 down, up. The way you fix this is you just bounce it to audio. So in Ableton, I'm just going to freeze the track. In Logic, you could do a bounce in place. And then as soon as this is done, I'm just going to create a new audio track. And I'm just going to option drag this down. Okay, and so now I have some nice audio to work with, and you can actually see the printed phasing. Okay, so where it starts to thin out right here, that's where I'm losing my bass fundamental. And then up here, this is where the bass fundamental is boosting. That's when they're perfectly in phase. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to listen back to this and basically pick out the part that I want, and then I'm going to loop the bass line, because the bass line is just a single note pattern, so I could do this. But if this was a melody type bass line, more melodic bass line, what I would do is I would print a long section of each of the melody, and then I'd pick out my favorite parts in the audio. But in case you have a bass line like this that repeats, let me just show you what's going to happen. So let's throw a spectrum analyzer on here. And okay, so I like right around here. This was a pretty good spot. Okay, so they're staying in phase. And so then the only thing I'm going to do is just select these guys right here. And now this bass line is actually written in an odd, kind of an odd timing relative to the 4/4. This is like 3/4. That's why I'm going to loop a weird section of it, because that's just how the bass line was written. So let's just make sure that this guy is looping. Let's put the loop markers around there, and then I'm just going to spread them out. And there we go. Now we're going to have a bass line that's always in phase, and there's not going to be any problems. And so in this one, when we bounce it to audio like this and pick out the good bits, then we're going to have a bass that's always in phase, and it's always going to have a stable, present, consistent, low end. And that's the point of this. But that's it. Hope that was helpful. I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.